a.m. and 10 a.m. Prayer and Bible class are Wednesday night at 7, with youth Bible class beginning at 7:30. Contact Bishop Trice at 314-630-1261 and be sure to visit anthonytrice.org. Covenant for Life Child Development Center at 7200 West Florissant in St. Louis is open from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. for ages birth through 12 years old. We offer a safe Christian environment and have a licensed director with 25 years child care experience and offer an excellent curriculum that ensures productive learning. Enroll now. Call 314-260-9055. That's 314-260-9055. Covenant for Life Child Development Center at 7200 West Florissant in St. Louis. Education is the foundation.
Blessed are those who hear the Word of God. Join Charles Capps as he hosts Concepts of Faith and teaches you how to put God's Word to work in your everyday life.
God's Word is both blessing and curse. You're blessed if you do it and keep it and say it. You're cursed if you don't do it. Jesus said, "He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved." Well, that's a blessing, isn't it?
That's Concepts of Faith with Charles Capps, weekdays at 11:45 a.m., right here on KXEN 1010 a.m.
Tune in every Saturday night at 8:15 for the Morning of Miracles broadcast with Pastor C.V. LaFleur, transforming lives according to the principles of the Bible and empowering men and women to walk in their destiny. That's the Morning of Miracles broadcast every Saturday night at 8:15 on KXEN 1010 a.m.
You're listening to Faith Talk on 1010 a.m. in St. Louis. KXEN is also online at faithtalkstl.com.
The contents of programs carried on KXEN represent material that has been assembled and presented by the producers or host of each program. Unless otherwise stated to the contrary, these programs and their content do not reflect the opinions of KXEN staff, management, ownership, or sponsors.
The following program may contain medical information or advice. KXEN urges you consult with your personal physician before you act on anything you may hear on this program. Again, please consult with your personal physician before making any changes to any existing medications or treatments.
Want to feel better? Well, who wouldn't? Get ready to find out more in the next hour as we talk about health, exercise, wellness, and nutrition with Dr. Richard Cranwell. This is Right to the Doctor with Dr. Richard Cranwell, a leading chiropractor in the St. Louis area and a tenured full professor and faculty member at Logan College of Chiropractic. Now, let's get right to the doctor.
Well, good morning to each and every one of you out there. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Dr. Cranwell, and you are listening to Right to the Doctor. It comes to you live each and every Friday morning at 10:30, and it is Friday, and it is 10:30, and we are here live. So therefore, I emphasize that, folks, because just to let you know, we look forward to hearing from you. 314-881-1695. So let's make the show interesting. You know, I can be talking here and talking, but I want to know what is on your mind in regards to health issues. So, you know, you got a testimonial, you found something that works, or you've been to the doctor and you want a second opinion, a third opinion. Folks, this is your opportunity. And if you do call us and we take your phone call, we'll even send you a gift. So therefore, folks, it's a win-win-win situation. And number 3, your phone call and the topic that you discuss with us, who knows? You may be helping somebody else out there who has the same situation, the same signs and symptoms, and doesn't know what to do, and maybe is a little shy, a little bashful, a little hesitant in calling in. So therefore, you can help so many different people. Help yourself, help us, and help the listeners. So let's hear from you. 314-881-1695. And along with me, as always, my co-host, Dr. Peter Pagano. Good morning, Dr. Pagano.
Good morning, Dr. Cranwell. It's always so great to be on the air with you and discussing all these things that we have in our heads with each other, and also to disseminate these concepts to our trusty listeners who are out there avidly waiting for this information. And I just want to invite those fun, loving, and avid listeners to call in this morning and ask the questions that you may have, or maybe relate a story about some incident of your health care that you are disgruntled about and want help with. Because I know, because I see patients every every morning, every afternoon, they come in with problems, and sometimes they're problems that are created by previous treatments that were done that they weren't happy with, and they feel like there's something else that maybe could be done, and hopefully there is. But in order to get that extra little something that you may be looking for, you got to call in, or you got to come in and see Dr. Cranwell or myself and get these things handled, because a lot of times people get down, they get depressed, they get despondent, they get apathetic, whatever modifier you want to throw in there. But there's problems that occur with people, and they just don't take the next step. So take the step this morning and give us a call. That's 881-1695. Area code is 314, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can. And I just want to say, Dr. Cranwell, I got a shout out this morning. May I do it now?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, thanks, Doctor.
While you're still thinking about it.
Oh my God, you're so benevolent. I can't. You have no idea how appreciative I am.
Benevolence, my middle name, Dr. Pagano.
It's amazing. Holy.
Because at this stage, if we think of something, we really got to act on it, because who knows where the show may go. We'll start talking about something else, and we forget what we really want to talk about. So, shout out.
I forgot. No, I didn't forget. I got it.
I already forgot. Okay, folks,
I got it.
Along. Give us a call, 314-881-1695, and we're going to talk about things that you can do to enhance your memory, to maintain your memory.
This is getting really heavy here. It's the
brain, Dr. Pagano, is just like any other organ in the body. It has certain nutritional requirements, and those requirements aren't met. I mean, there goes the brain, and when the brain goes, the memory goes, and, they say that's the first thing to go. So, therefore, while it's still on your mind and still in your memory, let's talk about that shout-out that you had.
Okay, well, I got a shout-out to Kevin and Beverly from Steelville, if you guys are listening. Great seeing you yesterday in the office, and I just want to say, Kevin told me that Steelville is like 20 minutes south of Cuba. And I just want to say, I don't know about that, Kevin. I think it's 30 minutes south of Cuba, but I know you're a fast driver. Just kidding, Kevin, just kidding. I just wanted to bring that up. But anyway, it's good to see you guys yesterday, and hope you're listening, and maybe even bold enough to call in with some incident or some interesting tidbit that might possibly be on your mind. While we were talking yesterday, Kevin, you may remember that I mentioned the name Dr. Lendon Smith. And Dr. Lendon Smith was a physician, and he was a pediatrician who was following orthomolecular theory. Now people go, oh my God, what's orthomolecular theory? Ortho means correct, and molecular means molecules. And what his proponent was, it was a naturopathy principle, which means it's a doctor of nature or natural conditions and how to preserve things without giving drugs, by just using things that occur naturally in the body. So he was really big on correcting the vitamins and mineral balances in the body to create health. And he did heavy dosages of these things. We had other doctors at the time that were doing similar things. Linus Pauling was probably the big leader in vitamin C, and we had other doctors that were advocating other types of minerals. The big three were vitamin C, B complex, and calcium, magnesium, and other minerals that were put into the body. And it was used to actually help balance body chemistry for health. And that was the basic principle of orthomolecular concepts and theories. Today, we have this concoction called the Myers cocktail. Myers is M-Y-E-R-S. The Myers cocktail is a concoction that's used to bring people back who are basically very ill, are very tired, have problems that nothing has been able to touch in terms of bringing them back to a healthy state. So Myers cocktails are used through a process called infusion. That means that a needle is inserted into a vein and there's medication dripped, which is these Myers cocktail components, vitamin C, B complex, and the minerals, all in a certain dosage that are dripped slowly into the bloodstream, and that allows the patient to feel better and to heal from their maladies. So that's the basic concept on Myers cocktail. But Dr. Lendon Smith was a pediatrician in Portland, Oregon years ago, and he was purporting these things and using these things, and he got in trouble with the medical association, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he was a leader, a forefather, if you will, in this type of thing, which evolved into the Myers cocktail. So it is now pretty much in 2018 a common practice, medical practice, where back then it was considered to be somewhat quackery or even voodoo. So that's the basic history on that. And I wanted to bring it up because Kevin and I were talking about how Dr. Cranwell and I met and how we were using some of these concepts way back when it was considered voodoo, and how Dr. Cranwell and I felt so honored to have met one another because we were like, well, where did you come from? How come you're talking that language? And how come nobody else is? What happened to you and what happened to me that we were in that mental vein, if you will, back in the 70s, okay? And that relationship forged our present relationship, or that information helped us to forge our present relationship that was way, way back when. So that's the story and history on that. Kevin, call in and add something if you want. So there you go.
Well, thank you, Dr. Pagano. And I will say this, too. This program, Right to the Doctor, or myself being the host, we're in our 23rd year of weekly broadcast. And I will tell you this, Kevin and his wife were one of the original callers way back when, 21 years ago.
He didn't tell me that.
Well, yeah, he left out some of the important information. And they used to call because they used to live here in St. Louis before they moved out into the country
boonies.
Out there, out of the boonies, yeah, for a city boy like us. But anyway, so therefore, and I know that they used to call. His wife used to call. Kevin used to call a lot of times on the air here and ask some very vibrant, very
astute.
Very astute questions, and so therefore, if they are listening, and they've said that they've listened throughout the years, and now you just saw them this week, please, give us a call and let's hear from you, because I haven't heard from them in quite a number of years. And so therefore, you bring up something, and I too am familiar with Dr. Lendon Smith. In fact, I had the very precious opportunity of meeting him back in, I would say probably it was back in the mid 80s. At various seminars. He came to St. Louis a number of times as a pediatrician, and he
studied at St. Louis University for a while, residency.
Yeah. That's right, and his theories and his philosophy matched very well, correlated very well with chiropractic philosophies of treating the body, of giving the body what it needs in order to do what it needs to do. Okay, as you just mentioned, orthomolecular, the concept, the chemistry, balancing the body chemistry. He also wrote a book. In fact, I have it at my house here, signed by him, and very, very much like Dr. Harvey Walker here in St. Louis, who again was proponing things, folks, that was a proponent of things and ideas and philosophies back when it wasn't cool, if you will. It wasn't mainstream. And I know Dr. Walker used to be on staff at the various hospitals here, and I watched him and followed him numerous times. He'd be going from room to room back when the treating physician actually made hospital rounds, and he'd be pushing a little cart around from room to room. And on the cart was vitamin bottles of vitamins, and also nutrition and vitamin textbooks that he would give to, almost like a library, he would give to the patient to pass around and things like that. And constantly, as Dr. Lendon Smith, MD pediatrician, got in trouble with the various medical licensing boards because they were practicing, let's say, Dr. Pagano, out of the box. Okay, it wasn't really what the rest of the profession was talking about. And here we are 30, 40 years later, and now we're seeing more, a lot of it is mainstream. They were talking about gluten. And I know Dr. Smith was talking at that time, again, we're talking 30, 40 years ago, about the adverse reactions and the effect of preservatives and colors, food colors on kids and hyperactivity. Oh my goodness, And
that was blasphemy back then in the 70s.
Good word, blasphemy. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so he found a home in chiropractic, if you will, in that, hey, that's what we promote and philosophize about and advocate, and now all of a sudden we see, yes, more and more research is coming out that, yes, and it's been proven now over the past 30 years that the food colors and the various other additives and the preservatives have all been called carcinogens. They cause cancer. But the comment is, well, we don't ingest those things to the amount that it could cause cancer. But folks, look at it this way. If it's in just about everything you eat, what about the accumulative effect year after year after month?
Isn't that how the FDA was able to get NutraSweet okayed? That they said it wasn't in the dosage that caused
exactly and
holes in your brain.
Exactly, and the same thing, Dr. Pagano, with the colors. The red, the blues, and the yellows, and all these colors that are in all these drinks and these man-made things. And you have to wonder then the epidemic of cancer nowadays. Every time you turn around, somebody's getting cancer of some type, whether it's brain cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, kidney cancer. It's all around. Breast cancer. My goodness. Okay. Every time I turn around, I don't think there's a day that goes by I don't come across somebody, whether it's at the faculty at the university where I teach or in my patient, that somebody doesn't mention somebody they know got cancer. All right. And, my mama always used to say, and this goes all the way back to another famous physician that wrote a number of books, Dr. Bernard Jensen, okay, the father of iridology, looking in the eyes. And he wrote books back in the 40s and the 50s about, hey, you are what you eat. You are what you ingest. Another old saying, famous saying was, let thy food be thy medicine be thy food. Remember that one? Well, my goodness, yes. But nowadays, what is considered food? It's certainly not the stuff that's in the boxes and the cans and the bottles and the packages, because in that they got all these chemicals in there. Why? To preserve the shelf life. But again, it takes energy out of our body to metabolize these things, and we get nothing out of it. So the people get tired, fatigued, and no energy.
And hence the term subtractive food as opposed to additive food.
Exactly. But no wonder we get along so well. It's almost like we're reading each other's minds. So, yes.
I think we are.
Well, oh, my gosh, that's scary. Heaven forbid. So anyway,
privacy contract.
If you're listening to us, my name is Dr. Cranwell. I'm a chiropractor and board-certified nutritionalist. Dr. Pagano is a dentist, and we are here live, 314-881-1695, and we're here to take your phone calls. So give us a call. Let's address the underlying cause. Let's not just take another pharmaceutical for that symptom. Another thing I've seen on TV lately, and the students brought it up in class this morning, about this constipation, this new drug that we see, the commercial, opioid-induced constipation. Now, there's a medication for that, because if you're on opiates, that causes constipation. So now there's a new drug for this new condition, OIC, okay? Opiate-induced constipation. So another year or so, it'll be in the textbooks as a whole new condition. Folks, it's just nothing more than one of my favorite books, Dr. Pagano, and I have a copy at home. Actually, I have two copies, one at the house and one at the office, and both of them are autographed by one of the four authors of the book. The name of the book is Drug-Induced Nutrient Deficiencies, meaning that taking various pharmaceuticals can cause deficiencies in various nutrients that our body so sorely needs. All right? And therefore, like taking these proton pump inhibitors, what does it do to the stomach acid? What does it do to the hydrochloric acid, all the digestive enzymes, the intrinsic factor that is necessary to break down and utilize B12 out of red meat? It tends to destroy these things, therefore causes other symptoms, acid reflux and indigestion, and then all of a sudden malnutrition. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like you've always called it the snowball effect, I call it the domino effect. Same thing. All right. So, folks, if you're interested in what you can do to improve your health and your life, therefore, naturally, give us a call. We're here. Let's bounce it off the wall. Let's go to our phone lines now and let's talk to Claire. Claire, good morning to you.
Oh, good morning, Dr. Cranwell.
Yes, ma'am.
And Dr. Pagano.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Claire.
Your voice sounds familiar. We talked before?
Yes, I talked to you last week.
Last week.
And it was the end of the show, and we ran out of time, and you said, please call next week, and I will talk about.
At the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And Claire is following up, and she's calling us back. Where you been all my life, Claire? Oh, my goodness. We asked her to do something, and she did it.
She's on it.
She's on it. Okay, Claire. What we were talking about? You posed a question last week about osteoporosis, I believe.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. And thought I would call back because I thought you were.
You're breaking up, Claire.
Oh, you were probably preparing to answer the question, so I didn't want to let you down by not calling and following up.
Well, I thank you very much for calling. I will correct you. No, I haven't prepared because I forgot the question. No.
Okay.
Now that I'm talking to you, I remember the question. And Dr. Pagano was talking about the bisphosphonates and reclass, and that some of those things can cause the exact reason and condition that you're taking them for. And in fact, before we get into the conversation, Claire, you did call and we sent you a gift. Did you receive the gift?
I did.
And that was what? Magnesium and a cervical pillow?
Yes.
You got both of them?
Yes, I did.
Good.
Yesterday.
Good.
Yesterday.
Okay. And have we ever met, Claire?
No.
All right. We've never met. And
No, I just call on the telephone.
And we talk. Correct?
And occasionally ask a question.
Okay.
But I don't want to do it too often because other people are out here with questions also.
Well, you call as often as you want, Claire. I just wanted to make sure, and for our listening audience out there, Claire did call last week, and for all the years, decades that we've been on the radio live here, for anybody who does call, we send them a gift, and that gift is given to the caller at no cost to the caller. We pay the shipping, handling, and postage to get that to you, and that is what occurred, right, Claire?
Right.
Okay,
right.
And you got a cervical.
And it was more than you ever had to do.
Well,
because I just appreciate getting the
information. Yeah, is Claire gone? Okay. Yeah, Claire, we lost Claire here somehow or another. But again, we had a question. We posed a question, Dr. Pagano, to the listening audience last week, and we were looking for the answer. What was the deficiency behind Charlie horses, whether it was grinding and clenching of the teeth and jaw, whether it was abdominal cramps or Charlie horses in the leg, because we posed the question that Charlie, when he invites himself into our bodies, he doesn't just set up in one area down in the calves or the thighs. He sets up all over the place. Why? Because it's a chemistry problem. It doesn't hit just one area, and it hits the whole body. It's a systemic condition. And so therefore, we posed the question of what nutrient is responsible for Charlie setting up housekeeping in our bodies, and Claire called with the correct answer of magnesium, so we sent her a bottle of magnesium, and also for calling in, we sent her a cervical pillow. So, and we absorb all the costs of that. She did mention, though, about the reclass and osteoporosis, and we were starting to talk about that last week. We ran out of time. And one of the things, I'll just get it started. I know Dr. Pagano here has some words because he's shaking his hands up in the air. He wants to say.
I didn't even move him yet. You knew I wanted to.
I can feel it. I can feel it.
Oh, he's really invading my mind today.
You're giving me that look.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's what it was. Anyway, just to set the record, we'll get this discussion started here. Bones are made up of many, many different minerals. In fact, so far, the chemists, the biochemists out there realize and have written articles about it, and that bones are made up of 17 different minerals. And so, therefore, folks, if you're taking calcium to keep your bones strong, you're missing the boat, really. And because we come across numerous patients over the 40 some years that Dr. Pagano and I have been in practice that, well, doctor, I took my calcium supplement. What happened? And, and then again, too, are you taking the correct calcium? Because, many of these supplements that you buy in various stores just off of the shelf, the major source is calcium carbonate. Well, calcium carbonate, folks, is rock. In fact, I like calcium carbonate because those people that know me, including my neighbors and friends and all that, they know what I'm into, and I love going and getting a big bag, a 50-pound bag of calcium carbonate, and I get it at the nursery. It's called limestone, and it makes for a very nice, beautiful Irish deep green grass, okay? Almost all year round. Calcium carbonate is limestone, folks. It's also the stuff they make chalk out of that you write on the chalkboard with. It's not going to do you a whole lot of good. So different types of calcium. Calcium carbonate is one of them. Not good. We're going to talk about the other types of calcium. So just taking calcium all by itself is not going to do the trick. Bone is not made of just calcium. It's made of many different things. And so therefore, not only do you have to get all the other minerals, how do you know what minerals you need? That's where the bone density and the trace mineral analysis comes into play that we do in the office. We send them out to the hospital for the bone density, but we can also take some samples in the office here and do a trace mineral analysis on that for the amount of mineral content. Now, just a side note, Dr. Pagano, as a side note from what we just got talking about, 40 years ago, I was doing hair analysis. And, the labs offered it at that time, so why not do it? And interesting enough, a lot of people thought, what is that? That's weird. That's off the radar and things like that. Now here, all of a sudden, we jump ahead 40 years, and there's a lot of places out there doing businesses doing it, schools are doing it, employment agencies are doing it. Of course, they're testing it for different things.
Drugs.
They're testing it for drugs, but they realize that things do show up in the hair. And the hair is a very live organism, and so the labs test the hair for minerals. I think there's about 20 or 22 different minerals along with heavy metals. And interesting, too, we just found a patient this earlier this week, came back for his consultation, his second visit. We went over the trace mineral analysis, and lo and behold, we find he's very high in aluminum and also very high in selenium and also very high in copper. And I said, well, we have to address that. Where is it coming from? He lives on a farm and he drinks well water and has most all of his life. He's in his mid-50s. And I said, well, first of all, I want you to get that well water analyzed. And he said, well, I have been doing it every year. And I said, what do they analyze it for? Guess what? Just for bacteria. That's it. Okay. They don't analyze it for various chemicals, metals and minerals and all. I said, well, we need to have to do that because it just could be he's poisoning himself by drinking the water coming out of that well. I've seen that many, many times. So, Claire, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so
I'm just listening.
Okay, so Dr. Pagano wants to talk about the bisphosphonates and the reclass. I think that's the two major ones, isn't it?
Well, reclass is the latest and greatest because it's been devised and it can be taken once a year, so it's considered to be the cat's meow on all the bisphosphonates because it's easy to take, and it's just given as an IV, and you're done, and you don't have to take it again for a year. The problem is that it inhibits bone turnover or resorption, and what happens is there is an overpopulation of bone cells, namely the osteoblast. So as I was making the analogy last week, if you have a neighborhood or country, and you overpopulate it with additional people that there's no room for, you've got to have multiple family housing. and you have more people in the neighborhood, you have more waste, you have more sewage, you have more water consumption, more food consumption. What happens is the quality of the neighborhood can go down because of the overpopulation. In China, they even have like multi-level housing that goes underground 3 and 4 stories. So they go up 12, 15 stories, they go underground 3, 4. Anyway, the bottom line is the air starts getting thin and it gets toxic, and the food can be contaminated. The elimination of waste is a lot more challenging.
The entire environment suffers.
The environment suffers, the ecology changes, and people get sick easier. So what happens is the cells are overpopulating, and what occurs is instead of the bone actually getting healthier, it gets weaker, and you're prone to fracture, or the tissue over the bone moves away from the bone because the bone's toxic now. So you get open sores on the body, especially in the mouth. You get these oral ulcers that occur exposing this bone because the patient's on these things like bisphosphonates. And it creates a problem for any dental work being done. It creates a problem for infection, and it also creates, believe it or not, a fracture risk. And that was the thing that was trying to be solved in the first place, which in my way of thinking, and I know in most listeners that they get this real quickly, it's like, that's insanity. You're going in to solve a problem and you wind up creating it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So many of the medications that we take can have those side effects, or they're not really side effects, they're just effects. And we just kind of ignore it because we think that somebody knows better than us, but that's just common sense. And I think we need to take a legal ID.
KXEN St. Louis.
That was painless, and that's what I like about when the people go to the dentist, they want painless. So it fits in perfectly, Paula. Thank you so much. All right.
And, oh, boy.
That's the exact reason why I called and asked the question last week. Because being careful, I don't want to do more harm to myself.
Well,
So I would rather take vitamins and build up my bone density that way.
Well, Claire, I'm all for something like that. I'm not sure, what vitamins or what minerals you should be taking, and I think that you should heed the words of Dr. Cranwell, and that is, you need to get the proper blood or hair analysis to find out what components you have in your system, which ones may be deficient, and what to do about those things. Approach it scientifically and not empirically by just looking at the problem and going, well, I think I need this. Okay, we don't know what you need. That's a supposition. You're supposing you need something, but you don't really know for sure. And that's a problem. Okay, that's where we get into, danger. We get into the red area of life. It's like, no, you should find out what it is that's specifically needed and take that at a certain dosage for a certain time period. People get on calcium and they stay on it forever. I get these people come to my office, they got arthritis everywhere, and they take x-rays, they got bone spurs in their TM joints, their jaw joints, or they got little stones in their pulps in their teeth, because they have so much calcium depositing out everywhere.
And then they also get kidney stones.
They have kidney stones. They have all kinds of stones anywhere, and it's a problem, okay? So people, in their effort to better their health, sometimes worsen it too, which is another form of insanity, okay? And it's an insanity based on a lack of understanding and knowledge in an area. I mean, let's face it, the human body's kind of complex. That's why Dr. Cranwell and myself and people like us, we go to school, we try to learn as much as we can about it, and we're constantly learning. It's a process of learning, and what we learn, we pass on to our patients and our listeners. But the truth of the matter is, it's an ongoing process that's constantly changing and improving, hopefully. Sometimes we have a dip and there's not an improvement. We find out what we did was actually not a good thing. So then we try to correct and get ourselves back on track, or get ourselves on course to help people improve their health. So increasing your awareness of what's wrong is the first thing that you should do on your list before you reach for any supplement that you think may help you?
Wow. The other thing, Claire, I would add too, as I was talking a little bit before Dr. Pagano started talking about the different types of calcium, keep in mind too, calcium and magnesium need to be in a proper ratio. For every 2 milligrams of calcium, you need 1 milligram magnesium. Now, that being said, that's in high school biology books. That being said, calcium, magnesium, if you take them together in the same pill, they tend to neutralize each other. So you got to be careful of that. So if you're going to take calcium, don't take it in the same pill that's got magnesium in. Don't even take it at the same time. Now, that being said, a lot of people out there taking various proton pump inhibitors or even stuff off the counter, off the shelf, up there, over the counter stuff. They pop anti-acid every time they eat. Well, the problem with that too is they think they're doing some good, but they're really doing harm because calcium, this is basic chemistry, calcium needs acid in order to be broken down and utilized. Well, if you're taking an anti-acid, you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money, and it can cause a lot of harm. So, there's all these things, Claire, that for all the listeners and all of individuals out there, it's not as simple, oh, I think I need some calcium, I'll go out and buy some. No, it can be, as Dr. Pagano just very eloquently put it, you can be doing yourself a great deal of harm. One, by causing other problems, and two, by putting off the condition until all of a sudden one day it becomes it's in the alarm stage, and now it's too far gone, and you got the kidney stones, and you got the arthritis, and the stones, like Dr. Pagano said, in the mouth, and the other one I will add to is the calcium buildup in the arteries, atherosclerosis, plaquing, and all that.
Get them in the salivary ducts too. You get
salivary ducts,
saliva
okay?
duct.
And so here we got something, Claire, that the body's got so much calcium, it doesn't know what to do with it, and so it starts storing it someplace. Now, that leads us right into the other thing. We've been talking about minerals, and I love how this just leads right into one thing and leads into the other. We talked about minerals, Claire. Well, there's also a vitamin that's very necessary. So what vitamin might that be? Any idea, Claire?
Vitamin C?
Vitamin C? Not a bad idea, but no, it's the guy that comes from the sunshine.
Oh, vitamin D3.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Claire.
Yeah, okay.
And I take that.
You're just working on getting another gift, aren't you, Claire?
No, she's interested. She wants to be informed. Okay, so therefore, as an example, what I have found, and not much in life is consistent over and over again. There's not a lot of guarantees in life, but I will tell you this: about as close as guarantee as I can get, you can get 99.9% of the time when I do a trace mineral analysis, and I also do the blood and the urine and things like that. If I find a whole lot of calcium, an abundance of calcium, 10, 20, 30 times more calcium than is necessary, let's say in the hair, all I got to do is turn over the page and look at the blood and look at the vitamin D, and it is low. Sometimes vitamin D runs in a range in the blood somewhere between 30 and 100, so ideal. You want it around a 60, 70 range of vitamin D. These are the people that have down in the 20s, the teens, or even single-digit vitamin D. Now, 6 months later, when we redo it, 7, 8 months later, I like to do it in 6 months, do the blood and the trace mineral analysis again, things have changed. The vitamin D in the blood is now up into the normal range, and guess what we find in the trace mineral? The calcium is back down into the normal range. Hey, this is nothing more than some of the routine lab things we used to do in college, undergraduate school, and biochemistry lab and things like that. It still works because, Claire, and for all of our listeners, body chemistry and physiology hasn't changed. It's still there. All we're doing is learning more about it. So again, Claire, you take some vitamin D. I would caution, first of all, have you ever had your blood tested for vitamin D?
I did a couple of years ago when I had a thorough blood test, the CBC and the vitamin D, and I was just like average. I was not low and not exceedingly high, just average. nothing was said about, well, you need to take one of these pills that's got an extreme amount in order to build it up.
Right.
Nothing was said about it. So, but this last time, I was recently at the doctor, and I had the CBC and everything, and he did not have the vitamin D tested. And I think he should have.
Yes.
Before telling me that he thinks I should take one of these Prolias, or, as Dr. Pagano was talking about, Reclass.
Okay.
That was not mentioned to me.
Well, those are the bisphosphonates.
Well,
your Prolia is a bisphosphonate.
Pardon me?
The Prolia is a bisphosphonate. So that he must have thought you had some form of osteoporosis.
Well, I do.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you this, Claire, and we're getting off on another little pathway here. How do you know you have osteoporosis?
Because, well, back once again, a couple of years ago, when a bone density was taken, I was at the level that it was not really bad, but it was just, I think, like 1 degree below what it was supposed to be.
Okay. Now,
meaning, like, if at the minus number, it's supposed to be like minus 2.5 is normal or something.
well, yeah, anything